Hey, this is Bob from Dogwatch Cigar Radio.
And this is Dale, and you're watching a video review on StogieReview.com.
Excellent.
That one sounded okay.
Hello and welcome to another installment of the Stogie Review video review. And actually, this week we have something a little different. It is the long-awaited how to build a coolidor video. And the whole reason I did this before is because it offers a mass storage at low budget. And if you read the article, I break everything down, and I'm going to try to do the same thing here. So let's start with the obvious. What do we need to build our coolidor? Well, first things first, we need a cooler. In my case, this is a Coleman 120 quart extreme cooler. And now I took some steps to prepare this before the video was started, but I'll explain what I did, how, and why I did them as I progress. So let's go over all the items we're going to need, and some of these are going to be optional too. So don't think you're going to need absolutely everything I have here. First and foremost, you need the cooler. Second, an optional item, 65% beads. These are the humidification beads I'm talking about all the time. These just happen to be 65% relative humidity rather than the 70% relative humidity I set up in my other coolers and in the video. Next, you're going to need distilled water. In this case, I've got it in a little pump spray bottle. It sprays a real fine mist. Also, you're going to need a little bit more. Just have a gallon of it here. And I'll explain why we need so much water in a bit. You're going to need a calculator to calculate out the number of beads we're going to need for this cooler. And you need a hygrometer of some sort. In my case, I'm using a very inexpensive Walmart model that I'm going to modify. I would definitely go with digital because they're a little more accurate. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut into a pair of nylon stockings, and we're going to use these to hold the beads. If you want to go on the cheap end and not pick up mesh bags, cheap things. I think I paid 33 cents for these at Walmart. Just go in and out of the hosiery aisle real quick. No one will give you funny looks. We're going to need a tape measure to measure the volume of the box so that we can, calculate out the number of beads we're going to need. Another optional item is an oust fan. As you can see, no perfume unit. Definitely make sure you do not use the perfume unit in your humidor unless you want your cigars to taste like Orange Breeze or whatever it is these things come with. So definitely lose the perfume unit. Some more optional items. You're going to need a small screwdriver set for eyeglasses to take apart that hygrometer if you decide to go that route. Also, for that hygrometer, you're going to need a utility knife so that we can cut away some of the plastic. A spare block of wood so you don't drill into whatever it is you're working on when you modify that hygrometer. I keep saying hydrometer. I actually mean hygrometer. The obvious, we're going to need empty cigar boxes. You can get these from Cigars International. I happen to pick up a bunch of loose boxes from my local cigar shop, and I heard another item fall, so I can't show you that one, which is an 1/8 inch drill bit that we're going to use to modify the hygrometer, and we're going to need a drill to modify that hygrometer. So first and foremost, I'm going to clean all this stuff out, start setting things up, and we're going to take this whole video one part at a time, because I do plan on using this humidor hopefully today. So because I should have some more cigars coming in, I really just don't have the room. So bear with me while I set up. Try to get the camera set up so that you can see everything that's going on inside this unit, and we'll go from there. Oh, also, you're going to need some Velcro to attach this hygrometer. Means I forgot it, so I'm going to have to go find some. Anyway, I'll be back in a few and we'll get started. Well, we're back, and you have to bear with me here. My tripod is set at the maximum height, and I know it's a funny angle, but you're looking at the top of my cooler here. And I forgot to mention that there are also just a couple more items that I forgot to mention. One being just an old dish towel that we're going to use to wipe down the humidor, or cooler in that case, and some insulation. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but I'm getting some blurriness on my screen, but I can't figure out how to fix that. So just bear with me here. One thing you notice is that I have this brown stuff on the top of my cooler, and what that is it's foam insulation, and it's used on exterior doors, such as if you had a garage and you had a doorway leading out into your garage from your home. You usually have an exterior door, sometimes it's metal, and a lot of times people will put this around the doorstop so that the door closes on it, compresses it, and it creates a seal. And that's what we're using it in this case for, so that when we close our humidor, or our cooler, we get some compression, and it creates a better seal than the plastic on plastic would give us anyhow. So let's move on. First thing you want to do is smell your cooler. That may sound funny, but really smell it when you open it up. Make sure it doesn't smell like plastic or soap, or if anything got spilled in there, you want to take care of that right away. Now, if it smells like plastic, what you can do is just use some Dawn dish detergent, which is a mild detergent, to wipe it out. You could set it out in the sun for a few days. You could put some baking soda in here, close the lid, let it set for a few days. In this case, mine smelled like plastic, and what I did was I sprayed it down with a Pure Air product, and surprisingly, it took it away immediately, and it worked out really well. So, next thing we want to do is we want to do a quick clean real quick. So I'm going to set up for that, and then we'll get back to the video, and I'll show you what I'm doing just to clean it out real quick. And we're back again, and here we are. Just simply, we're just going to clean it out. And what I've got is that little bottle of distilled water, and I'm just going to start misting down the sides of the cooler. Now, in preparation, I did wipe this down with a little bit of Dawn beforehand because I was trying to get rid of that plastic smell. So, I'm already clean. I just want to wipe it down and make sure I got everything. And just make sure there's no soap residue. Also get the inside of the lid, the underside. And then just go back with your clean dish towel and start wiping out all that excess water, making sure that we get any excess dirt or soap out of the unit, and then we'll be all set. So rather than you just stare at me wiping down the inside of this unit, I'll be back when I'm finished. And we're back. And as you can see, you're looking at me once again and not the cooler. And that's because now that the cooler's wiped out, I've put it aside, and we need to move on to the next step, which is going to be prepping our boxes. Now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9 boxes, and definitely make it worth your while. Don't expect this to work flawlessly if you've got like 3 boxes, because the boxes are really going to help buffer the humidity and keep it constant. So you need enough to keep the humidity level at a fixed, constant state. So just keep that in mind when you go to get cigar boxes, and then avoid the boxes like they're real flimsy cardboard, almost like a cereal box. And for one example, the La Vieja Habana Cedar Chateaus come in that really flimsy, cheap cigar box. So avoid those type of boxes. Stick with either the decorative paper boxes, because a lot of times the paper is on top of some cedar, or in this case, Luan, which is a form of mahogany, or the really expensive boxes. And again, you can get these at your local cigar shop. When I got these, I made sure not to get all of them at one time. I got a few here and there, and I don't even think that that JM Cigars charged me. They may have, but if they did, it was such a small amount, I didn't even notice it when I was buying my cigars and picking up extra boxes. So from here, like I said, we're going to start prepping our boxes, and what we need is this little pump bottle of distilled water. If you've only got a gallon, just pour a little bit into a bowl or a dish, and we're going to need our cloth. First thing, we want to check and make sure the cigar shop didn't leave us any presents. There's no loose tobacco in here. It's clean. We're good to go. And as you can see, it's a wood interior. So what I'm going to do is, don't faint, but I'm going to put water on the wood. I know, it's shocking, but I'm going to do it anyhow. And remember, I've got a spray bottle that sprays a very fine mist, so I'm not really concerned about overloading the wood with water. And then I'm just going to take my cloth and I'm going to wipe it back out. Okay? Now what I'm doing is I'm evening out the water so I get a nice even spread of water out throughout the entire inside of the box. Because the because the outside is lacquered, there's no real sense in spraying it or varnished. So if we put water on here, it's just going to come right back off anyway. It's not going to absorb into the wood like in the interior of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe we'll do one more. We'll do a paper box. Again, looks. In this case, it left me a divider, which doesn't fit in the box. So no loose tobacco. If there is loose tobacco, just brush it out. It's no big deal. And even the paper boxes, I'm going to wet down a little bit because I know the paper is going to absorb a little bit of water. And again, I'm just going to spray it on the inside of the box, not the outside, because the outside has a heavier layer of paper, and it's just going to the water's just going to beat up and sit on the outside. So now another box down, and if you happen to see an exposed wood surface, hit it with some water and wipe it down. Again, what we're doing is we're getting these boxes with a high humidity level so that they'll help neutralize the cooler. So I'm going to go ahead and wet down the rest of my boxes, and as I wet them down, I'm going to put them in the cooler. We're going to try to gradually raise the humidity in the cooler. But actually, before I put these in the cooler, I'm going to spritz down the cooler a little bit with my distilled water, just a little. I don't want any puddling or anything in there. Just mist it real quick, and then start putting your cigar boxes in. When you put them in, leave them open. You don't want to trap the humidity inside the cigar box. So I'm going to get to that, and we'll be back, when I'm done and we're ready to move on. Well, I'm back. I just finished wiping down my last box, and keep in mind that you don't want to stack the boxes in there so that you're blocking. So that you're blocking one box off with another. It gets kind of tricky, but you've got to stack them up so that you've got like a line of sight to the damp portions of wood. You don't want to trap the moisture in there. And again, mildly just dampen them. You don't want to soak them. Here's the cloth that I was wiping them down with, and I mean, this is mildly damp. It's not really wet. Keep that in mind. You don't want to overload the boxes, otherwise you're going to spike the humidity, and you're going to have a really hard time getting it to come down. So next, what we need to do is we want to check to make sure we have enough beads, and to do that, I'm going to need a calculator that I don't know if I can reach. Hold on just a second. Alright, got it. Now, I took the measurements of my cooler, and they are 31 inches long, 13 inches wide by 13 inches deep. And what we're going to do is we're going to calculate out exactly how many beads we need. And first we need to get the cubic inches. And what we're going to do is multiply our width, length, and height, or depth in this case. So we got 31 times 13 times 13. That gives us 5,239 cubic inches. Now we want to convert the cubic inches to cubic feet. And to do that, we divide this 5,239 in my case by 1,728. And that gives me 3.03 cubic feet. And now what we need to do is divide that out by 5 to get the poundage of beads. Messed that up. Anyway, we got 3 cubic feet, more or less, divided by 5. That gives us 0.6 pounds of beads. And I'm just going to round that up, and I'm going to put 3/4 pounds of beads in there. I'm going to put in 3/4 pounds of 65% beads, and you can do the same. And if you need the formula, once again, it's in the how-to article that's on StogieReview.com, which this video will be attached to. So just scroll up and get that. Now, in my case, I know I have enough beads. I bought a pound, so I don't need to concern myself with that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. And next step is we want to put our hygrometer inside of our cooler, because now we want to start monitoring what the cooler's at. Or we want to get the hygrometer in there and active while we start prepping the beads to go in there next. And if you're just going to put a hygrometer in there, if you're not going to do the modifications to a Walmart one, like this is like $7, and I need to make some modifications for this to work properly. So if you picked up a hygrometer from like Mark Neff, where you've got an adjustable digital, just go ahead and stick that in there now. Otherwise, I'm going to start prepping to modify this, and again, that's going to be on the video. So give me a minute, and we'll start shooting that. Okay, we're back, and again, just have to bear with me on the view here. Just trying to get my tripod set up so that it works well enough that you can see what's going on. Now, first things first. You may be wondering, well, why do you need to modify this hygrometer to make it work correctly? Well, I'm going to Velcro this to the inside of my unit, and as you can see, it's meant to be clipped on with this clip here, or stuck onto like a refrigerator, because it has a magnet. Now, the problem is I'm going to put the Velcro right on the back here, and it's kind of tough to see, but the vents that for the readout are inside. I'm going to cover that up with the Velcro. So what I need to do is I need to get some more venting going on the outside of this, so I don't cover it up with my Velcro. Now, the first thing that I need to do is I need to get this clip off. And if all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small 4D common nail, and I'm just going to push it in on a pin that's inside this clip here. Get creative if you have to. And it's going to start come out on the other side. Now what I'm going to do, since I forgot to get my needle nose pliers, is I'm going to go get them, and we'll continue. Alright, I'm back, and as you can see, I got my needle nose pliers now. So there's a few items on here that I forgot in the beginning when I told you what you needed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide that pin out, and things are going to start falling apart. And that pin is here. There's a small spring to make the clip work. The clip itself, there's a little stand so that you can stand it up on the pin. We're just going to pop that out. And just because it bothers me, I'm going to take that sticker off. No real reason. And we've got these high spots, and I'm going to take care of them later. You can see we don't have a battery in here yet. But next, I'm going to actually take this apart. Just grab a small Phillips head screwdriver from your eyeglass kit. Again, we don't need this stuff. We do need the screws though, however. Just take this out. Nothing to it, don't worry. I don't think you're going to have any problems with anything breaking. It's just those two screws. We're going to pull that out. Now, one thing that's important is don't lose this little button, because it's in there loose. And it just sits on this little exposed metal surface. I'm not an electronics major, so I really don't know the common names. What we want to modify is the back plate. Now, the reason behind having this spare block of wood is because I don't want to drill into this table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drill with my 1/8 inch drill bit, and I'm going to start drilling holes, probably 4. One here, 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 and here. Actually, I'm going to drill 2 more up top, and that should give us a lot of ventilation. You know, and this is just real simple. It's just that easy. I'm through. Nice and clean on the outside because we used the board to drill into. Now I'm going to go ahead and drill the other 5 holes, and then we'll be back to put this thing back together. Well, as you can see, we're back. I've got my 5 holes, 6 holes. I got 5 more than I had when I turned the video camera off. And just going to clean our mess up a little bit here. I didn't realize I had so much loose plastic on the inside. And now, once that's all taken care of, next thing we want to do is we're going to use our utility knife to take away this high spot, so that I can set it flat on the inside of the cooler. Now, just be careful, and you should be able to just cut them right out with a utility knife blade. Just be careful you don't cut yourself. Actually, I'd be pretty embarrassed if I cut myself on camera, so if the camera cuts off suddenly, it's because I had an accident. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We're almost done. And I'm not having any real trouble. Now, previous times I used a file to file this down, but that really made a mess, and it was much more time consuming. As you can see, that only took a couple of seconds. I'm nice and flat. Now I'm ready to start putting things back together. And make sure we get all the plastic out. Just blow it out real quick. Now, to put it back together, it's just as simple as we took it apart. I'm going to take this little plunger for the. It changes the hydrometer readout from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And I keep saying hydrometer, and I actually mean hygrometer. So just don't pay attention to that part of the video. Just pop it back into place. Put the screws back in. I don't know if I can find the screwdriver. Big fingers and little screws don't go well together. Bear with me here while I put this back together. There's one. There's the other. Let's go ahead and throw a battery in it. And as you can see, lo and behold, I didn't break it. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the Velcro on this, get it in inside the cooler, and then we'll go from there. Well, I'm back and just finished modifying my hygrometer. I've got it in the cooler. Now inside the cooler we have humidity that we're trying to build up, and we have a means to keep track of that humidity. Now next what we want to do is add a humidity regulator, so to speak, and that is our beads. Now in my case I needed 3/4 of a pound of beads, and since I have 2 half-pound bags, I'm going to put 1.5 bags in there. Simple as that. No tricky scales or ways to measure it. Just going the easy way. And I'm just going to take my stockings. You can be stylish and use all different colors, but the lighter colors actually work out a little better because they allow you to see the beads. They allow you to push tight against the beads, and you can see in there and see which ones are cloudy and which ones are clear, so that you have an idea of whether or not you need more water. So really all I'm going to do is just I'm going to stretch these out a little bit, and I'm going to start adding my beads. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make multiple sacks. And the reason I'm going to do that is so I can spread them out within the cooler. I don't want to put one massive 3/4 pound bag of beads in one place. I want to spread them out so that when that oust fan starts shifting the air around, I've got more than one point of humidity control. And I'm going to go ahead and make some bags off camera. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill some of these bags up, cut them with the scissors, tie them off, and then just snip them tight. And just going to tie off the cut end of the part of the stocking I didn't use, put some more beads in there, tie off the top end, so one stocking will get you multiple bags. And another thing to note is that I got these from Mark Neff at cigarmany.com. He's been a great sponsor of the Stogie Review. And when you buy a pound of his beads, they come in the mesh bag, so I can actually use that in addition to the stockings. I would just pour them all inside the mesh bag, except for I really want to keep them spread out. If I was using a few pounds of beads in a really big unit, I would definitely be putting quite a bit of beads in these bags, but then again, I'd be spreading them out too. So it's all just personal preference. I like to spread them out. So anyway, I'm going to start filling these up, and we'll be back when I'm done, and we'll move on to step whatever I'm on. So we'll just go from there. Well, here we are again. I just filling up my bags of beads, and I just wanted to make a clarification. When you buy beads from Mark, you actually get 2 bags. I thought it was 1 bag per pound. I guess it's 1 bag per half pound, and since it's white, it got lost in there with the beads. Didn't realize it, so just wanted to clarify. You actually get 2 bags. And again, I want to spread them out as much as possible, so I went with 4 bags of beads, and that's why I didn't use the mesh bags that Mark provided me with. I just got 4 bags of beads, and the nice thing is, I can just kind of look at these and see, just how dry or how wet they are. And again, you could do that with the mesh bags too, but I want to spread them out. And next thing we want to do is start hydrating these beads. And I, I got about a little less than half a bag left of beads. So just so that you realize that I didn't weigh them. I just kind of just started dumping them in there until I was left with about half a bag, since I needed 3/4 of a pound. And there's a few ways that you can hydrate your beads. In Jerry's winterized your humidor video, he put them in a dish and misted the dish, and so that he was wetting all the beads. The only thing that I don't like doing about that is you're introducing so much water to the beads that they could fracture and crack. And not that it matters in a bag made out of a stocking, because it's so the mesh is so tight. I just don't want to shock the beads. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some distilled water and my cloth, and I'm going to start wetting down my cloth more so than because right now it's damp from wiping things down. I want to get some more water on there. Again, I don't want it dripping, but I want to get a fair amount of water on the cloth. Again, this is a big cloth, so it's going to take a little bit of water. So while I do that, I'm going to cut the camera off, and then I'll be back once I'm satisfied with how wet this cloth is. Well, I'm back. I've got my cloth wet down. As you can see, it's not saturated, so I can really wring it, and no water's going to come out. It's heavily damp, though. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these bags, and I'm going to put them inside this, if I don't drop them, and I'm just going to wrap them up in the wet cloth. Now, it should be over 100% humidity in here, so these beads should start absorbing this moisture rather quickly. And I'm just going to take this whole thing and put it right in the cooler, and I'm going to let it sit in there for about an hour. After about an hour, I'm going to pull this back out, look at the beads, and I want about 80% of the beads to be clear, the rest being sort of a milky white. And that just shows you that 80% of the beads are hydrated, so that if you get a humidity spike, the beads can absorb the extra moisture. So, again, I'm going to stick this in here, I'm going to give it about an hour, and then I'm going to check out how the beads are doing, and I'm going to go from there. Also, about now, I'm going to put the oust fan in there with all this stuff to start circulating the air, maybe dry out the boxes a little bit, get the moisture off the surface of the box and into the air in the cooler. So check back with you in about an hour, hour and a half, and we'll see how things are going. Well, I'm back. It's been about an hour. I opened up that cloth and checked out the beads, and they were about 85 to 90% cloudy. That means they absorb very little water. So what I did was I took that towel, I spread it out, and then I took my water bottle. Again, this sprays a fine mist, and I began to spray the sacks of beads and kind of roll them around. So with one hand, I was kind of rolling them around, and with the other, I was spraying them. So I was applying a little bit of water to the stocking and forcing it into the beads. And I guess I used a whole bottle. So I think it's a 3-ounce bottle. So I added about 3 ounces of water to all those beads directly. And again, because it was a small mist, it didn't shock the beads or crack them or anything. That was the one thing I was concerned about, but it didn't seem to be a problem. So I applied about 3 ounces of water, rolled them around, make sure I got water inside that penetrated deep into the bag of beads. Then I just rolled them back up inside that towel and put it back in the humidor. So I'll give it another hour, maybe 2, and I'll check the progress once again, and we'll go from there. So nothing new at this point, other than I just had to wet down the beads a little bit. So be back in another hour or 2, and we'll go from there. Well, we're back. Last part of this video, just checked my my humidor once again, my big cooler, and humidity's up. It's bouncing back and forth from 56 and 57%. So that tells me that we're pretty balanced in there. And again, you don't have to season this like a humidor because it's mostly plastic inside. So there's nothing to really absorb the humidity aside from the boxes. So it's going to be lower than what you want. So in my case, 65%. I'm not going to get 65% unless I get it really humid in there, because there's just really nothing to hold the humidity. So I've got my boxes, as you can see. They're no longer wet inside. The surface water absorbed or evaporated. The cedar boxes seem to be holding humidity well. And now I can just go ahead, remove that wet towel, let the beads set in there on their own, and start adding in my overflow, and just start putting stuff in cigar boxes so I can get it out of the bags that I buy it in. So that about wraps it up. Real simple, real easy. You could also add in like cedar sheets if you have them laying around. Sometimes they come on top of cigars when they're packaged in boxes. If you happen to have some Spanish cedar laying around, from an old project or whatever, you can add that in there. You could even go as far as lining the cooler with Spanish cedar if you really want to make it much like a humidor inside. But for me, I'm very happy with just putting cigar boxes in there, so that's all I'm going to do. Well, again, that's all there is to it. Nice and easy. Hopefully, everything on the video was very simple. Doesn't cause any confusion, and if it does, shoot me an email at walt@stogiereview.com, or leave a comment on the site, and I'll do my best to try to make it a little easier for you to understand or explain why I did a certain thing. So well, that's all. So good luck with your cooler projects, and thanks for watching.